All right, we're back. We just did redraft the 96 draft, and Kobe went number 1. AI went number 2. Let's go check the video out. Today we're gonna do the 97 and 98 draft. Right now we're doing some my player. Shaq has a nice suit. So about our guy right now, we're in the Knicks. We're in the finals now. Speaking of the Knicks, they got destroyed today by the Cavs. Like, it wasn't even close. Maybe if Derrick Rose was playing, it would have been different.
That boy Derrick Rose playing, brother. Cavs haven't done.
It still blew him out, man.
Just like opening night.
Right now, the Warriors and Clippers are on. It's actually a really good game. Surprisingly, defense is dominating, as both teams started out, I think, 2 for 12.
You know, it's only a matter of time for one of the teams gets going though.
Yeah, my money's on fucking. Or he's on the Thunder. Oh, no, the fucking Thunder. Fucking Warriors. Because my Butte fucking sucks. Alright, starting with the 97 draft anyway. Number 1 pick was Tim Duncan. It remains the same. I mean, he's top 10 player all time. Number 2 was the 76ers, who drafted Kobe in our previous draft. This time, see, originally they drafted Keith Van Horn. I mean, and then he wasn't that bad. But I'd say it was tough between Tracy McGrady or Chauncey Billups. Since Chauncey Billups was healthy his whole career mostly, and McGrady was injured towards the end of his career. But if you got a chance to team up T-Mac and Kobe, even if it's only for 6 or 7 years, I mean, you've got to take your chances. You'll most likely win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was still a matter of time before both those guys developed. Number 3 pick was the Celtics. Their pick remains the same. They took Chauncey Billups at first, but it was kind of a mess. He clashed with the coach. The coach didn't know whether he was going to play him at point guard or shooting guard. It's a pretty stupid idea to get rid of him. So they ended up trading him to the Raptors, and he actually played on the same team as T-Mac and Vince Carter. They could have all three, but then they dealt him to the Nuggets after a month for absolutely nothing. So this time they keep Billups. I'd say they probably get rid of the coach and take Billups because he's Hall of Famer, isn't he?
Yeah, or he's gonna be in there soon.
Yeah, he was. I mean, everybody in the league would like a guy like Chauncey Billups on their team. Quiet, a leader on the court. He was pretty good at everything, but he wasn't great at one thing. And he was able to he was the leader of the team when they went to the championship and won. All right. Next, 4th pick is the Grizzlies. Originally they took Antonio Daniels, who's a bum. He only averaged 7 points in 13 seasons for number 4 pick. Both these drafts are pretty bad, besides the top few guys. So I think this pick to take Keith Van Horn. And Keith Van Horn was he was a player that was before. Alright, he came in too early. Now, if he played today, I think he could actually lead a team and he'd thrive. I mean, his rookie year, he averaged 19 and 8. And then he was a great 3-point shooter for his career. He averaged 60 and 7. I mean, he only played a few years. I think he only played 8 years, maybe. But I mean, the guy came in. He's a good scorer. He's that great in defense. He made his money. He retired because he wanted to spend time with his family. I mean, you can't really say anything bad about him. So, I mean, when he came in, he was a great rookie. Then he was traded to the Nets. I know he was traded a few times. When he was in Philly, he was actually the go-to guy for the team. I think that was when he averaged 19. And then he became a 6-man later in his career and led Dallas deep in the playoffs. Number 5 picks, Nuggets. Originally took Tony Battie, who wasn't great at all. Now they take Ron Mercer. Ron Mercer was a really good scorer, but he had injury problems, and he was traded a lot, so he couldn't really get acclimated to his teams. I mean, he played for 6 teams in 8 years, and the guy was like a top 5 pick. I mean, he was a pretty good guy. I mean, if you take away his last 3 years, when he was basically just a reserve guy and only playing like 10 to 20 minutes a game, he averaged 19 for his career. But he couldn't really do much of anything else. 6 and 7, it's either going to be Tim Thomas or Tony Battie. And both those guys were great in college, but they never really developed in the pros. But eventually they had some value to the team as a role player or a guy that was a mentor for the younger players. I mean, you remember when Tim Thomas was in the Bulls, I think?
Yeah, Tim Thomas was in the Bulls, yeah.
I mean, you could pretty much throw those guys in wherever you want. Tim Thomas was a good shooter, a 6'10 guy that could shoot. And then Battie was an average defender, average rebounder, okay mid-range shot. There's no more notable players in that draft. All right, 1988 draft. Number one's the Clippers. This is an infamous draft, and they drafted Michael Olowokandi first. And I mean, he wasn't really as bad as everyone says. It's just because the people drafted after him. But his first season, he averaged 11 and 9. Next season, he averaged 12, 9, and 2 blocks. But then he injured his knee, and he is never the same. So I say now they take Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's probably a top 50 player all time. And I mean, he's able to lead the Dallas Mavericks to multiple playoffs, a ring. He would have been a big savior for the Clippers. Next is Grizzlies. It took Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was pretty good. He averaged about 15, 6, and 3 for his career. If you take away his last few years, of course, when he was only playing, when he was playing like no minutes. Now, this one's a tough call between Paul Pierce or Vince Carter. And this is the team that had Keith Van Horn now, a good shooting big man. I'd say you take Paul Pierce. It's really tough, but I think Paul Pierce was the better overall player than Vince Carter. Vince Carter could score at will and get to the paint, but Paul Pierce could score, and at one point in his career, he was an above-average defender and a good playmaker, a guy you could run the offense through. I'd say Paul Pierce, team up him and Keith Van Horn, give him 2 good shooters. Third pick's the Nuggets. They took Ralph LaFrentz. I mean, he wasn't that bad, but then he tore his ACL, and I guess it kind of might have affected his progression. But he averaged about, his rookie year, he averaged 12, 8, and 1.5 blocks. He was always among the league leaders in block shots. To me, he's a decent rim protector, but he's no Vince Carter. All right, now next is a 4 and 5 was the Raptors and Warriors, and what they did was they actually traded each other for the picks. The original pick was Antawn Jamison and Vince Carter, and they kind of traded. With Vince Carter gone, the only 2 really good players left is probably Antawn Jamison and Rashard Lewis, and you could switch those guys around whichever way you want. They're basically the same guy. Great scorers in their time, but that's not really all they could really do is score. Number 6 pick was the Mavericks, which were traded to Milwaukee. The original pick was freaking Tractor Taylor, who that guy had some weight issues, so his career didn't really go anywhere. Now I take Mike Bibby, and then number 7, the Kings take Jay Williams. Notable players after that was Brad Miller, Larry Hughes, Al Harrington, and Bonzi Wells. So, I mean, these 2 drafts weren't really all that great. We did get AI, Kobe, Vince Carter, Dirk, Paul Pierce, but I mean, outside of the top couple guys, there wasn't really nothing happening there. All right, we'll be back soon with the 99 and 2000s draft.